I'm James Kotecki. This is the C-Space Studio. We are back here at CES 2026, and I am back with a good friend of the C-Space Studios, Vox Media's Chief Revenue Officer, Geoff Schiller. Welcome back.
James, thanks. Happy to be here.
It's always great to talk to you, and of course we always want to make sure people understand what Vox Media is all about. So please give us the definition of the brand here at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. So Vox Media is a portfolio company. We have publishing assets, podcast assets. I like to say that we're built for a new era of discovery that is grounded in omnichannel expression. So if you follow a person, you can consume that via audio, via video.
Yeah.
Experiential, if you follow a brand, same thing, whether it's .com, social, app. So Vox Media is the sort of sum total of all of that.
And that's an interesting modality, a way to think about it, right? So I'm not really thinking about, do I care if it's a podcast or a video? I just really care about that person, those opinions, that kind of thing that I'm expecting from that brand. Is that increasingly how people are viewing this?
Absolutely, and I think that from the sort of perspective of why we're here, differentiation is the goal, right? Like this is an ever increasing, with each passing year, space where people are looking to say, here's why we should work together, or here's how we can add unique value. And so differentiation for us is grounded in, we have IP. That IP is not vertical in nature. Of course, there IP on a sort of micro level is, but like on the macro, our IP spans horizontally across every platform of human consumption. And that's really the sort of like how we future-proof.
Yeah. And how do you go about cultivating that IP? Do you think of it within certain, I know there's obviously different brands in the portfolio, but do you think about it holistically as this is the kind of thing that makes sense within Vox Media?
Absolutely. So on the publishing side, each brand is independent and obviously has their unique perspective, position, community, and so that dictates what we think would surprise and delight them. And I would say on the publishing side, it's really grounded in helping them discover things that they may not see right in front of them. And I think, you can certainly say in the era of AI overload, a lot of it is just grounded in things that you already know, like, hey, I'm going to type in a prompt and I'm going to get like a very matter-of-fact, transactional, utility-based answer. The goal of all of our brands and our pods is really to help surprise and delight the consumers and say, here's a trend that you should be aware of, or here's a hack that you should be considering for your personal, well-being, or whatever it might be. So it's sort of that Jobsian refrain of like, they didn't know they needed a smartphone until I built it for them.
Wasn't that, and then Henry Ford said that about cars and horses?
You asked, exactly,
like
cars
that.
and horses.
I don't know if that was an apocryphal quote or not, but it's still a good one, so we can use it. I want to talk about the era of AI overload. So in that era, what is your position on AI content and or AI curation when a consumer comes to your brands?
I would sort of bifurcate the curation. If we can leverage technology to better serve our customers and our consumers, great. On the consumer side, that means, for example, it could be Eater leveraging AI to help better organize the reviews for a particular type of restaurant genre. Like, so it could be, what are the best ramen places throughout the country? If AI can help with that, great. But AI doesn't have taste buds, can't taste something from a restaurant, and so we sort of make a hard line in the sand between creation and curation.
So do you have a specific rule or brand promise that everything has to be authored by a human, or to a certain extent or percentage or entirely?
I think things obviously evolve in real time, and so there's never a world in which it's a good thing to make hard and fast promises.
I won't hold you to it. No, it's a world, and it's a world, interestingly to me, like I'm starting to feel myself consuming some content that once I find out it's AI generated, I'm still okay with it, right? Like there's certain things that I'm entertained by or whatever that I'm like, oh, I kind of like this unironically, this is interesting. When it comes to something like news, for instance, I still pretty much want that to be, a human's opinion, because other humans live in the world with me and I kind of want their take on it.
Absolutely, and I'll say, look, like that is not the case for us today. Our brands uniquely, I think, within our quote unquote publishing competitive set are grounded in taste, are grounded in human judgment. And so by nature, those things are not synonymous with AI, because if you're writing a first-person essay in New York magazine about a lived experience.
Yeah.
Again, AI, robots, however you want to couch it,
Right.
they can't do that.
Right.
So our brands across the board are really grounded in like human expression.
So how do you engage the taste and judgment of generations Z and Alpha, and how are you thinking about them right now?
So I think a couple of things. One, from a pure reach perspective, last year we grew within our publishing landscape more than anyone else in our competitive set relative to that cohort. The way that we think about it is really simple, is like we interpret signals from our brands in terms of what content is resonating, and we super serve them, and we do that on the platforms that matter most. So, obviously it won't come as a surprise, but that's TikTok, that's Instagram. We create live experiences because we know that they crave interpersonal sort of connections, and so.
Tell me about what are some examples of live experiences?
So this last year we've hosted, sort of triple-digit number of live events, and they run the gamut from live pods, with some of our really well-known personalities. A good example, we just did a pivot tour with Scott Galloway and Kara Swisher, and Scott specifically has really nurtured this relationship with Gen Z men, talking about what it means to be a young man in today's day and age. And so I think that that's a great example of like a live expression.
And so does this all come down to trust? Trust is the topic that we talk about a lot here in the C Space studio. Do you feel that you have it? Do you feel like you've earned that trust, and has that been challenging to do? It's not easy to do in this environment.
Absolutely not easy. I think there's a unique blessing / I won't call it burden, it's more of a privilege, with the pods in particular, because of the parasocial relationship that consumers have with the host.
People who are listening
think they know
the
them.
host really
Yes.
well.
And so that trust is literally at the core, the essence of why the podcasts are successful. So like from that regard, it's either sink or swim.
Yeah.
On the publishing side, you think about duplication in the space, and you think about unique value that's being added. And so that's a different type of trust. That's like every day we have to serve them something that is disproportionately better than they can get somewhere else. But yes, across the board, trust is at the foundation of everything we do. It's not something that we sort of like say, great, we have achieved it. It's like
you have to keep
the journey never ends.
That's right. I want to talk a little bit more about podcasting and audio streaming. Where are we right now in terms of listener habits, and how are those evolving? Where do you see those going?
I think the biggest evolution with podcast is from audio to video. And that's happened over the last couple of years. You're seeing the streamers pick up podcasts like Netflix, others, and that evolution from just sort of like a single channel to now a omni-channel based expression, I think is really, really important. I think in terms of like the maturity of the space, you could argue that there's definitely an overabundance of podcasts. For us in particular, we focus on quality over quantity. We like to sort of say we're like the HBO of the podcasting space. Like it's our relationships with our talent built on trust, and they're clear leaders in the space, but we're not looking to build out 100 long pod channels of thought leadership or women's sports or whatever it might be.
And do you think the investment in advertising for audio is at the point where it matches the content consumption, or no?
Absolutely not. I think that the pivot to finding new IP, if you're a streamer and you look at all the things that make podcast amazing, like we talked about the parasocial relationship, but like if you were a streamer and you look at where it started, which was scripted, and then it went from scripted being, sort of maybe not as sustainable as folks would like from a cost base to then, reality, unscripted to live sports, podcast, being the sort of that next iteration, I think will help catalyze the eyeballs versus dollars quotient, but there's a long way to go.
Because I have really enjoyed talking to you many times as a guest here in the C Space studio, I'll give you the final word, but I want one word. What's your one word going into 2026 that you want to leave us with?
Wow, one word. Okay.
I thought it was going to be wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
No. It's I'm gonna be an optimist and say optimism.
Optimism. I love it. Let's leave it there. Geoff Schiller, Vox Media. Thanks so much for coming back.
Thanks, James.
Appreciate you. And we appreciate you, of course, watching us here in the C-Space studio at CES 2026. I'm James Kotecki, back with more after this short break.